Well, welcome everybody to our Kingdom Organizer Magnification Call for January 19th. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I am excited to turn the time over to Mr. Richard Paul Evans.
Thank you, Michael. First of all, how was your week? How are you doing? Okay. Joanna, you had a good week? I want to hear, I would love to hear something good. Someone had a great week. No? I see. Okay. I can't see your name, but you're shaking your head. That's a bad week. Okay. Okay. Joanna, tell us about your week. We'll, let's unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. I was able to visit my family, got back the first part of last week. My family lives in Dallas, Texas. So it's the first time I've seen them since COVID started. So I just had a wonderful time. I was able to be with brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, and just had such a wonderful time just connecting. And then with my job, just had several successes during the week, and it just felt really, really good. So just continuing to look out for those great opportunities.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to hear. It's good to hear something positive. There seems to be kind of a general malaise as we go through the next. I don't know. It's like, at least in Utah, COVID's flaring up again, and now and I know Texas is pretty bad because I'm headed there in a little bit. Michael, you raised your hand?
Yeah. Well, so my week, I guess, last weekend was absolutely incredible. I had the first vacation with my children in 12 years. And it was the first ever vacation with my children and stepchildren. And we just had an incredible time. We all came home on Monday. I think we were in a coma for most of Tuesday. And then the rest of the week has just been great as well. But yeah, really, really amazing connections and just good feelings all around. And it was good to get away for a bit and to really get out in nature and enjoy that.
And I'm looking forward to going down the ranch and burning some of that firewood you cut up, Michael.
There's a lot.
Michael's been down at the ranch, and I'm envious. Paula, what would you like to say?
Oh, hang on.
Of the units.
Hi.
Do I need to get Alt A?
We can hear you now. Oh, no, you just muted yourself. Okay, you're muted, Paula. Try it again.
I'm trying to unmute you, but is there a box on the screen? Click OK on the screen. There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
We can hear you. Okay.
We have some mountain property on the north slope of the Uintas. So we have been up there probably for the last 3 or 4 weekends. And we came back last Monday, left again on Thursday night or Friday morning, I can't remember. But it is so wonderful to get away and to get into God's country and enjoy it and some friends that we meet up there.
Oh, nice. You have a cabin up there, or you bring a trailer up there?
Well, we have a couple of little cabins. They're just little tiny things, so I don't have to work my butt off to clean it up. And when we come home, but yeah, they're just little tiny. We invented the little houses.
Nice.
And
nice.
I just love it up there because it's my little slice of heaven. And we meet friends up there and have a hoot.
And Suzanne Hatfield, she's on an island. So you're in your little island where you were, Paula, and she's in Maine on an island. And Robbie Eagle, we have missed you terribly. And I like your hair. It looks awesome. So what are you going to do this week to change your life? Big question. What are you going to do this week to change your life? Anyone thought about that? Paula?
I am done with Facebook.
Oh, okay. You're cut off social media. That probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Who else has something they could do this week to change your life? Robbie.
I am going to go renew my driver's license, and then my son and I are going to go up to Lava Hot Springs, and we're going to float down the little river that they have. So, because what else do? You go and do fun things. That's what summer's about.
Well, that is definitely going to change your week. Maybe not your life unless you drown. Don't do that. But let's see. Tammy, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Okay, so this week I am finishing up my Pathways first semester in Pathway BYU Pathway. And I'm so proud of myself because I am not good at math and I went through my math courses, yay! But it took me a lot of work.
Congratulations.
I did get my A in that class, but
Oh, congratulations.
I'm excited.
Audrey, I don't know how you did that, but Audrey applauded you. That's nice.
Thanks, Audrey.
Des Willard says, I'm going to get a promotion at work this week. Fantastic. Des, I love your posts on Facebook, by the way. They're funny and they're very positive, and it's actually one comment I do like seeing. So I want to share something that can, and in a very literal sense, change your life tonight. So let me begin by telling a story about something that happened almost 20 years ago. I was at work and I received a phone call from someone I hadn't seen since high school. And you get a little suspect when you haven't heard from someone in 20 years and they call, right? So they called and he goes, I don't know if you've been following my life at all. He goes, I need to borrow some money. He said, I was in a car accident. He was a police officer. I was in a car accident and I was hurt. And I'm going to lose my home if I don't get some money. Excuse me, let me change it. He actually didn't call me. He called my Lisa, who was doing my finances. She came to me, she goes, let me talk to you. She goes, do you remember so-and-so from high school? I said, yes. And she goes, well, it was a bad car accident. She goes, however, he's getting an insurance settlement, a claim. But it takes a while to come in. If he doesn't get it, he's going to lose his home, and he has 6 kids, and this is going to be awful. And he said he'll be willing to pay interest. It's just if you can just help him bridge this gap here. And I said, you know what? Let's just help him out. Okay, it's a lot of money, but I appreciate his friendship in high school, and let's just help him out, no interest. Just go ahead and take care of that. And so that day, a very large check was written to this man and to save his home. It was about the time we were moving to Italy. So we moved to Italy, and I've been there for about 8 months, and I came back to just settle some things, and I met with Lisa, and I said, she goes, by the way, do you remember the money you loaned so-and-so? I said, of course I remember the money. It was a lot of money. She goes, you're never going to see it. I said, what are you talking about? She said, he actually got the settlement 2 months ago, and he spent it all. Okay. How would you feel about that? Feeling good? Right? I was furious. I was livid. I had gone out of my way to help this man. And then she said, by the way, he still hasn't worked. He has no job. There's no way he will ever be able to pay that money back. It's gone. I was like blowing off steam. I was so angry. Yes, Cindy, I felt very betrayed. I mean, I had gone out of my way to help this man. He had lied to me. He had cheated and stolen. All the while posting all his great Facebook media, what a great religious man he was, right? I was furious. That night I went home, and Carrie was still in Italy, so I was all by myself. And the more I thought about that, the angrier I got. And I told Lisa, I said, I want to see him in my office tomorrow morning. Call him, I want to see him. And so that night, the more I thought about it, I just got really angry. It's like, I wanted him to pay for his betrayal. I wanted him to suffer for what he had done. I mean, that's about as low as you can get. Someone reaches out, makes a big leap to help you, and you do that to them. And the more I thought about it, I was so angry I couldn't sleep. And finally I fell asleep, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was filled with darkness. Have you ever had your heart feel so dark that you felt murderous? I wanted this man to die. And he had bad health as it was. And it's like, he is the slime of this earth. And people like that just shouldn't even live. I was so angry. And at that moment, in my darkness, in my hatred, in my bitterness, I heard a voice. And a voice said to me very clearly, forgive the debt. There's no freaking way. It's like, whose side are you on? I'm the good guy here, right? I was the one helped. I was the one who was betrayed. I was the one who was lied to. Really? Is that how you deal with things? You take the side of the loser? You take the side of the evil one? What kind of inspiration is this? And it came again, forgive the debt. So I can't forgive that debt. There's no way. He has to pay for what he has done. And it came to me one more time, forgive the debt. And then something amazing happened. All of a sudden my mind was opened to my own soul, not only where I was, but the mistakes I had made in my life. Everyone I had betrayed in my life, whether I meant to or not, everyone I had hurt. All of a sudden I saw it all very clearly. And with the thought, I have forgiven you. And it was a miracle, because I went from pure hatred at that moment to actually watching my heart softened over about 10 minutes. And I said, okay, I'll forgive the debt. And so I went down the stairs in my den, and I drafted a legal document completely freeing him of that debt. So the next morning I go to work, and he shows up. Even though he was my age, he looked, at the time I would have been in my late 30s, right? He looked like he was 60 years old. He was walking with a cane. He looked horrific. The toll everything had taken, but he was terrified to see me. And he came into my office and he sat down. He was shaking. He was literally shaking. He was that scared. And I shut the door and I sat down, and I said, we had an arrangement. You asked me for help, and I reached out and I helped you. What happened? And he said, I can't get a job. I have no money. It's like the money was gone as soon as I paid. And then all of a sudden, it's like the debts were coming up and my family's suffering. And all of a sudden I have this check. I have all this money. It's like, this will just solve all the problems. I just pushed out that it wasn't my money. And I just took it. He goes, I know it's wrong. I know I stole from you. He goes, it will take me my entire life to pay you back. But I promise I'll pay you back. I don't know how, but somehow I'll pay you back. And I just looked down for a moment. I took the envelope and I handed it to him, and I said, my friend, the debt has been paid. He goes, what? So he opened the envelope, and he opens the envelope, and there is this page there, and he reads it, and all of a sudden he just breaks down crying. And he's just sobbing. He goes, why would you do this? He goes, why would you do this for me? I said, I didn't do it for you. He said, that was what God asked me to do. And he said, I am a failure. All the dreams I had back when we were friends, everything, I said, I have nothing. I can't provide for my family. My health is bad. I've lost my job. They won't take me back on the force. He goes, I have nothing. I can't provide for my kids. He goes, he said, I realized that I would be better off to just take my life. That my family, I have a small insurance policy, they would be better off. So I knew that you would tell me what, I thought you were going to tell me what I deserved and give me what I deserved, and then I was going to go home and take my life. Now think about this. Did I know any of this? Did I know the background? Did I know he was going to take his life? If I had given him the justice that he really did deserve, what he did was evil, was wrong. But would I have got my money back? Would I have been a party to those his children losing their father? You know, he stood up and we just embraced. And he walked out, and I thought, I shut the door and I got down on my knees to thank God. And I said, you know what? I thought you were doing this completely for him. You were protecting me. You're protecting me from my own, of coveting my own wealth, of my own greed, of my own hate. But you also protected my situation. I wouldn't have gotten any money back. But this man might be dead. And his children and their children would be impacted by that. And I would have had to live with that. I thought, so I thank God for his mercy for me. And this is the part where it gets really interesting, because while I'm on my knees, my secretary knocks on my door, and I get up and she goes, oh my gosh, you will never believe what just happened. I said, nope, I probably won't. It's like, she goes, yes, I have no idea. And she goes, we just got a call from $1 Million Roundtable. This is the biggest speaking event in the country. They bring in like Hillary Clinton. They bring in like major speakers, right? She goes, they just called. They want you to be a keynote speaker alongside Mayor Rudy Giuliani in 3 months. Now, this is something I dreamed of. She goes, well, you're in here with your friend. They called. They have just approved you. She goes, do you know how much money they're going to pay you? It was the exact amount of money I just forgiven. Now, you can call that a coincidence, but I don't think so. And again, my heart was filled with complete gratitude for what God had done for me. It's like, oh my goodness. So many times we see things happen and we think, you know, you're not being just. How about us? How about us that are trying to do the right thing? Why do you turn on us? It's like, that's not what it's about. He was protecting me. He was watching out for me. You know, the ship releases the anchor, not for the anchor. It releases it for itself because it has a journey. It has some place to go. And when we hold on to these things, they canker our souls, right? They create rust. They hurt us. They damage us from the inside. They damage our souls. And that we learn to try to forgive for the reason that of what forgiveness really is. If we try to hold on to it as a weapon, it damages us. It hurts us. It occupies our time. It occupies our mind. It starts to slant us. So this is the question I'm going to ask you really hard right now. Okay? I'm going to share this, and this is going to be a really tough one. I'm going to ask you, and I want you to watch your mind very carefully, because I've done this. I have shared this with more than 100,000 people, well, probably 50,000 people. And I've seen the impact of this. I've seen miracles. Who do you need to forgive right now? I'm betting when I asked you that, something came to mind. Someone, and if you said, no, not them, you got the right person. Okay? If you say, there's no way I can forgive them, you got the right person. Okay, I want you to start to learn to understand that you're not forgiving for them. Okay, you're going to let go. Now, do not do what someone did that was horrible. They went to him and said, I'm going to forgive you because you're awful, and I'm going to forgive you. That's because I'm better than you. No, that is not what it is. It's like, they may not even know. So let me tell you how to forgive. There are people that you probably shouldn't tell them you're forgiving. It's not going to make things better. There are people it is good to tell, but some people not to. What I want you to do is I want you to actually talk to your source and offer that up and say, I will let that go forever. I'm not going to keep it back here in the closet. I have to pull out just in case I need to. I am cutting the chain. I'm letting it go. I want you to write that name down. I want you to write down what they did. I'm not asking you to minimize the pain they did, the evil they did, the bad things they did. You don't have to minimize it. It's not a matter of closing your eyes. It's a matter of opening your eyes to something bigger. You want to magnify your life. You will never magnify it holding on to that anchor. It won't happen. You're not doing them a favor. I have met people who have held on to crimes against them from people who have been dead for 10 years. Well, forgiving someone who's been dead for 10 years does nothing for them, right? It's all about you. You've heard the saying that it's like that holding on to hate is a little bit like swallowing poison to kill someone else, right? It's like, let it go. Be free. Be free. Liberate yourself. And there can't be any holding back. Now, listen, I'm not asking you to pretend. There are some people that is going to be just so hard. All right. And I want to tell you something. I've seen this miracle. I had another experience that was really powerful. And I may have shared it like 6 months ago, but it bears repeating. My brother was in a horrible divorce, and he was completely taken advantage of during the time. He broke his neck during the divorce, and they came in the hospital and gave him a document to sign away his rights to everything, including his children, and he signed them. And his mother-in-law was she was a very dominant woman, very powerful woman. She was actually the majority whip in the Utah House of Representatives. And it was really, when I found out what had happened, that he had signed away all rights, I was furious that they took advantage of him. And I remember sitting there and being filled with such incredible hate. I started to plot out what I would do, and I was much younger back then, and I wasn't an author. I was just like, what would I do? How could I hurt them? I thought, I'm going to go spray paint on their fence that's right there on Highland Drive. Something awful about them. And in that feeling of just sickness and hatred, suddenly, that voice spoke to me and said, look at yourself. And I was scared at what I saw. And then it said, is this who you want to be? And I said, I don't know how to forgive them. They're bad people. And you know what? The more you try to do good, the more you try to deal justly with other people, the more difficult it's going to be for you. Okay? The more kind you try to be to people, the more you give, it's going to be more difficult for you. People who are evil, it's not hard for because they say, they just do what I do. But it's when you can't understand why they would deal with others with such contempt and so cruelly. And so what I did is I said, I can't forgive this person, but you can help me. And then I did something that was really tough. I started to pray for them. And as I prayed for them, it took almost an hour. And all of a sudden, I started to have insight of how those parents, how much pain they were in watching their daughter be rejected. And how hurt she was. And that they were lashing back because of the rejection that my brother really didn't want to be with her anymore. And it went away. And I really started to pray in real life. The beautiful thing is the next morning I told Carrie, it's a great Christmas story because it was Christmas. And at the time, my brother was trying to see his children and they wouldn't let him. and he wanted to spend Christmas. They wouldn't let him come for Christmas. So I go, and this is horrible because they lived right next door to each other. And that was part of the problem. So I go to his old house that my brother had built with his own hands. And there's no one there. And I look over, I see them looking out the window of her parents' house. And I go over there and I can see her walking out, and there's a sense of, you are the enemy. It's Hatfields and McCoy, right? It's just like they walk out. And I walked up, and Liz walked up to me, and I said, I am sorry for your pain. And she broke down crying and came over, and I just held her, and she sobbed for about 10 minutes, and I just held her. And then her parents walked over, and it was the most powerful experience. She has been on my Facebook page. Someone once said, are you really as nice as I think you are? And she wrote an essay about me. And it was the most beautiful thing. I thought, I don't deserve this. But she said, he is the kindest man I've ever met. And the worst time when my heart was broken, he reached out to me. I wanted to reach out and spray paint their fence. I wanted to hurt them. I wanted to be bad. I wanted to be as bad as they were. And I want to say, no, I'm not as good as you think. But I listened. And how grateful I am as that friendship has grown. You know what happened? My brother spent that Christmas with his children. That's what happened. The doors opened up. Everything they wanted, the love opened up. We built a powerful relationship that has endured for years. She called me just 3 months ago to come give her a blessing. And of all things, with my brother. You know, this is the power of our source that can turn hate to love. And it can be hard, but the reason I told you that story is because I couldn't see any possible way I could forgive her or her parents. But as I prayed, sometimes you just need to have that desire. You just have to have the desire to do what's right. And then we can see miracles happen. How grateful I am for that miracle in my life, that happened. So when I said to think of someone, did you all have a name come to you? Did someone come to mind? Paul, you didn't have a name come to mind. Maybe you have no one. Maybe you have no one to forgive. That'd be fantastic.
I got rid of the hate a long time ago.
Oh, blessing to you. Fantastic. Are you so glad? I mean,
Yeah.
Would you say that? You look just free and.
Well, not the hate, the resentment of my mother. And she died in 1988 in my home of cancer. And I got rid of it a long time ago. It's just, why? Why resent her? I know what she went through while I was growing up. And she did the best she could. Raising us children. And I know she loved us, although she didn't show it a lot. I know she loved us, and I really loved her. And so why should I resent her?
So did you make an actual decision to say at this moment that you actually had a process, or it just happened?
It was with my source, and it kind of happened that way.
Good. Okay, good. Now, Jessica just wrote, I've been trying to forgive the same person over and over. And if it's who I think it might be, Jessica, if the things you have been through are, I don't think there's any way you could forgive that person without the help of your source. There are things that scare me that I know I could not possibly forgive someone for things that they've done. When there are people I've dealt a lot with abusers and sexual abusers, and sometimes I see it, it's like, how can God forgive these people? Just you see some of the things that people do, and so I'm going to ask you, and Carol, this will answer your question. I'm going to ask you to do something even more difficult, but I hope you wrote down that name, and I hope you take this seriously, because this is your moment. Otherwise, you're going to push it away. But this is the second thing. What have you done that you need to forgive yourself for. And there are things, and if you've read the book, the Four Agreements, it's really powerful. It talks about the injustice that we pile on ourselves. There is in the fifth article, in the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be put in jeopardy of life or limb. Okay? It's like this, it was so important to the founding fathers that you can't try someone twice for the same crime. Have you tried yourself twice for the same crime? I'm betting you might have tried yourself 1,000 times for the same. There are some things I've done in my life that it's just like, and they're not even that big of things, but I won't let go. It's like, that was so stupid. And so we try ourselves over and over and over as if there's some benefit to this. There's not. We need to forgive ourselves. And this is why, imagine if you're a basketball player. I mean, what is the end game? The end game is to win. The end game is to be one with our source. The end game is to be the most enlightened, magnified, loving person we can be. That is the end game. So think of a basketball player. Their end game is to win the basketball game, right? So what happens when they do something stupid? And we've all seen our favorite players make mistakes. Okay, we make mistakes. What happens if they continue to dwell on that mistake over and over and over? They continue to think about it, continue to punish themselves. Are they going to be better players? Or are they actually reliving the same experience? What happens when we relive the same experience? We don't let go of who we are. We hold on. We hold on to that version of ourselves. And we don't change. Are we benefited? Is our source happy with our choice here? Absolutely not. And yet sometimes we tell ourselves, well, if I can just hurt myself enough, maybe that will be okay. What do you need to forgive yourself for? Okay? This is a matter of justice. If you have punished yourself already, and I'm guessing you have punished yourself many, many times, be free of it. If you need to write it down and burn it, do it. I've had to do that with some things. Let it go. Put your mind in the future. Put your mind with your source and talk to your source. And if you're trying to find what some of those things are, ask your source. Take that enlightenment that can come to you, but be free. Okay, be free. That's what I wanted to share with you tonight. I don't want to over elaborate. I think it's all there. This is the biggest homework assignment I've ever given you. For some of you, it's going to be horrific, to seem horrific. Trust me, okay? Trust me, work with your source. Your source knows your heart and why. Work with your source. There are deep hurts. You are not justifying them for what they did. You're not saying it's okay what they did. What you're saying is, I'm letting that go. I'm not going to define myself or use it as a right to live my life. I want to be a victor, not a victim. Okay, I want to move ahead. And that's why we're here. This may be one of the most raw calls we've had. This is exactly why we're here, to magnify our lives. Let it go. And even talking to you, it's like, wow, there's one, I'm being a hypocrite. There's someone I need to let go. There's something I need to let go. But do you have any questions about your homework? Someone once said something to me I think was really powerful. They said, you're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad as you think you are. And I thought, yeah, that pretty much sums me up. I go to both extremes. And the day I realized that I'm as broken as anyone else, but my source is pure, that's where I said, I'm with that guy. I'm going to stick there and listen and do my best I can to do that. And it's worked out pretty well for me. I have gone, at one time I've probably gone to each of my kids and asked for their forgiveness. I remember I did it with my daughter about 6 months ago about something, and she just cried. She goes, Dad, you never have to ask me for forgiveness. I said, yes, I do. She goes, Dad, you do so much for me. I go, no, I want to be a big enough man that when I make a mistake, I hold myself accountable and move on. And move on with love and who I want to be. Because I have a very clear picture of who I want to be. And your proclamation should bear that out. And if you're in violation of that proclamation, then you're saying, oh, okay, that's not who I want to be. And that proclamation should be a vision of your best self. So I know it's going to be hard, and I'm going to be praying for you to do it. But I've had people come up to me years later and say, you don't remember you spoke at a church I was at, or I actually do this in businesses and at business, and I followed it, and how grateful I am. I said, and in some cases it didn't do anything with the relationship, but it freed them. It's like, she still hates me. She'll always hate me, but I don't hate her anymore. And then there are those cases where they have been hoping and waiting and say, thank you for having the courage I didn't have. And that it's turned to love. And those are the most beautiful stories. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I would love to hear your stories. If you want to share it personally, and just email me at author@richardpaulevans.com. I would love to hear your story. Some of you need to think, you're going to think some of this over, because some of you have had some really hard things. I know many of your stories. There's some of you, I look at you and my heart aches, and I know you've been through some really hard things. But your source loves you. I love you. Your community, your friends here love you. And reach out and let it go. You deserve that. Okay, you deserve it. And you are lovable. The fact that you're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad as you think you are, but what I will tell you is that you are far more loved than you can possibly comprehend by your source. That I promise. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I love you all. I will be praying for you. Michael, do you have anything you'd like to add, or?
Just amazing, and I love seeing the comments come through. The Kingdom Organizer and the family that we have built is so incredible, and this is an opportunity for you to share with other people. Share what you're learning, share what you're experiencing, share what you see for yourself on these calls, and then if they're interested and want to learn more about it, next week, Tuesday, we've got a workshop with Rick. And we're back with the workshops. So Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And that's the same link. It's all over Facebook as well, or the calendar on our kingdomorganizer.com page. And we would love to see you there. Richard, thank you. Thank you very much.
Blessings, everyone. Take care. Have a great Sunday night and a great week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye-bye,
Love
Richard.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.